Hi guys, welcome back to the new James Bond show. I'm your host Krazy Kajeevie and my co-host Little Scooby here. We're back with no fears, limits or substitutes. Okay, just prior to starting this filming of these videos, Scooby brought me a sock and he wanted to play sock soccer. Now one day on the James Bond show here, I will show you all what sock soccer with Scooby looks like. Basically, I have to roll this up into a ball, and he gets on my bed or the couch, and I literally, seriously, I can throw it almost as hard as I can, and he defends it like a goalie. And I'll be going like this. I'll show you an example. And he's got his eye on it the whole time. And you try and throw it, and you throw it past him. Of course, I've got to be further away. And he jumps up, he flips around, he'll jump right up in there. It's crazy. And he will play sock soccer. He really wants this now. I'm going to roll it up in the ball. We'll give it to him, keep him happy. And guys, I'm going to get straight into the video because what are Scooby and I bringing to you today? Hey, he's the co-host of the show. We've got to keep him happy. Help. Seriously, guys. Has any James Bond channel got this? Hey, has anyone got this? How cute is this? Alright, we're the best team in James Bond channels. Okay, let's get into this. So, what am I talking about tonight? Talking about, this was from, I'm not going to read the actual article out, I'm just going to talk about it. So, it was an article by Screenrant talking about the perfect replacement director. I mean, it's not really a replacement director, but a director who can take James Bond forward. And who would that director be? Now, before I go into that, because it is about Chris Macquarie versus Christopher Nolan, but before I go into that, I'm just going to come out with something I think could happen. And I don't know why, but it's been on my mind for a while. I actually believe that particularly due to the delay of No Time to Die because of the current situation in the world, I actually believe that Cary Fukunaga, the director of No Time to Die, I think he's going to be brought back. I really do. I have a feeling he's going to come back and reboot the James Bond series. That's just my gut feeling. I don't 100% know why, but I just have a feeling that's going to happen. He's obviously a competent director. He seemed to have got on well with everyone. He's a good writer. Obviously, from what we've seen, the guy can direct action as well. So, and he's got a fantastic cinematographer as well in Linus Sundgren, who I'm sure he would bring him back. And would this also mean that the team he's got around him, would he bring that team back? And would we have a regular James Bond collaboration team, especially like we had pretty much from the 60s right up to 1989, where we had Maurice Binder, some people say Binder, I've always said Binder, Maurice Binder doing the gun barrels. You know, obviously we've had, mental blank, what's his name? It'll come to me during the show. The guy that does the, I'm a walking, talking James Bond encyclopedia, and it's just gone, woo! Oh, it's right there. It's right there. Now, I know one of you already, while you listen to this, you're getting into the comments and you're writing down his name. Oh, it's good. What is it? What's his name again? Danny Kleinman. There we go. Got it out. Probably beat you in the comments. Nah. All right. So, maybe Cary Fukunaga could bring a regular team with him, but I would love, as I know many of you out there would, I would love David Arnold to come back and be part of that regular team, just like John Barry was from the 60s up to 1987 with his last film score he did for The Living Daylights. Okay, so let's get into this. So the Screenrant, I can't remember the name of the gentleman who wrote the article, but basically what his point was, he believes that he didn't talk so much about Christopher Nolan, and I will leave the article too, guys, in the description section below. Also, please drop a like and smash that subscribe button, but the article will be in there for you, I promise. So, he wasn't so much, it didn't really go into a lot of detail about Christopher Nolan, but he did go into a lot of detail about Christopher Macquarie and why he believes that Christopher Macquarie should be hired by Eon to direct Bond 26, the next James Bond film. Now, his point is to take James Bond into a new era, and a massive, massive point he had, and I believe pretty much most of you are going to agree with this. I think we need a bit of fresh air from the Daniel Craig era. Now, Bond can get too silly like it did with borderline with The World Is Not Enough, even though it did have some serious tones to it, but the way it was executed was a bit But the real silliness came in with Die Another Day. It was just nuts. We hadn't had a Bond film that ridiculous since Moonraker, but the thing is about Moonraker in 1979, Moonraker knew what it was, and Roger Moore's style accommodated a silly fun film where you had Pierce Brosnan trying to be super serious in Die Another Day in most scenes, with a film that's just completely unbelievable, especially the concept of the whole villain, diamonds in the face of Zhao, and the villain, the little Asian dude Moon being Gustav Graves. It was just nuts. It was unbelievable. And then you got lasers, and once we saw James Bond kite surfing that against icebergs, I mean, that was just nuts, crazy. So I think I can pretty much speak for most James Bond fans, except for my very good friend out there and co-admin of our Facebook group, James Bond Fans with Love, Gershwin J. Quintine. Hello, buddy. J-Man, G-Man, he is the number one big fan of Die Another Day. It's actually I'm sorry, Gershwin, I'm outing you. It is Gershwin's all-time favourite James Bond film. That's what you've told us, G-Man, that Die Another Day is his. Is his favourite. So I don't think the Bond series is ever going to get back to that stupid. But what we do need is a little bit of fun and more, I think, action and high-octane action. And specifically, what this writer of the article really pushed for, the Macquarie argument for him to direct Bond, is if you look at the Mission Impossible films, they're filled with colour. The posters are also pretty awesome. They're more like Bond posters than Bond posters are. They've got incredible action, lots of action. They've got interesting characters, great pacings. The last one went a little bit long, and some of them do go probably a little bit long, but he's a really great writer. Now, he was nominated for an Oscar, and I'm pretty sure he did win it. He won the Oscar back for Best Original Screenplay for The Usual Suspects, and if you haven't seen The Usual Suspects, I cannot recommend it enough. It is a ripping film, even though pedo-wedo, touchy-feely creep Kevin Spacey is in it, but it is a great film, so highly recommended. And I particularly love the performance of course, James Bond, baddie himself, Benicio del Toro. He's in it, and I believe his character name is Fenster, and he steals the film. Every scene Benicio del Toro is in Usual Suspects, he steals the film from everybody. Look, Benicio del Toro steals film. In every film he's in, he pretty much steals it. And I'll tell you one more thing, guys. I would actually love to see Benicio del Toro come back into a James Bond film. I mean, when you think about it, he probably could have been an incredible Silver. Of course, it was Silver in Skyfall was played by Javier Bardem. And now we know that Benicio del Toro played Dario in License to Kill, but I'd love to see him come back. Probably not as a henchman, but as a full-on villain. I think he would be so good, because the guy can just act the crap out of anything. So the writer's point was, make the Bond films, get rid of the desaturation, make it more colourful, make it bright, make it more audience-friendly, and bring back the fun. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have kite-surfing crap and ridiculous, horrible dialogue like, ornithologist, huh? That's a mouthful. I mean, that was just so wrong. What were they thinking? And your mama. I mean, Gershwin, how can you put Die Another Day in front of Dr. No or License to Kill or even Casino Royale? Come on, G-Man. We've got to work on you, man. I'm sending you in for a lobotomy. So, there's a very, very interesting point which I've been waiting to get to. What Christopher Macquarie said. Now, he was interviewed a while back, particularly about would he like to direct James Bond films. And they really wanted to push that angle with him. And he was very open about it. Now, Christopher Macquarie was born in 1968, so he's 52 years old. So he was born right between You Only Live Twice and On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Now, this was, and let me know in the comments below, guys, if you agree with me, this was a massive kick in the ass of Daniel Craig. There's no doubt this was a backhanded compliment aimed directly at Daniel Craig. Christopher Macquarie said he would like a Bond. If he was directing the Bond films, he would like a Bond. And he really meant the actor's name, but I'll give you the actual quote. I would like a Bond to actually enjoy being James Bond. Boom! Now, of course, what he really meant is, I would like an actor to enjoy, like an actor, not James Bond, but I would like the actor to enjoy being James Bond, unlike Daniel Craig. That is really what he meant. We all know that's what he meant. And you see in interviews and things like that Daniel Craig, for the most part, he comes across like he doesn't appreciate the role he's got, and he's harboured a lot of power in that role. And I think if Christopher Macquarie was to take over and direct Bond 26, I believe an actor that, well, look, everyone knows the actor I want to be James Bond, who could just do humour so well, is Matthew Good. And he can build up a bit more, hit the weights, and play an incredible, a borderline Dalton, Connery, actually, you know, an amalgamation, but find his own thing. But he could kind of work that Roger Moore humour, and that's Matthew Good for sure. However, the other actor, now I am going to do a video, I was to do this video on the James Bond show with Krazy Kajeevie, until I can no longer get into that channel. I was going to do a video on my new number one choice for James Bond, because on the last channel I did a top 3, and my number one was Aidan Turner. I changed from Matthew Good to Aidan Turner, and I had Nicholas Hoult, I believe, at number 3. But I do even have a new number one, and it's not one of those guys. And it's an actor that I just believe, when you look at all, I don't believe he's the strongest actor, but I think he's certainly good enough to be James Bond. If Lazenby can play James Bond to as well as he did, and I thought he was fantastic in On Her Majesty's Secret Service back in '69, then why can't this actor? Okay, I'll say it. I'm going to tell you, and then I'll do a video on why he's pretty much now my number one choice. And I didn't think I'd ever be saying this, but it's fact. I actually think Henry Cavill should be James Bond. I think he's just a great guy. He's just, you listen to him in interviews, he's fantastic. I also do not believe he's a Freemason. I actually think he's one of the very few actors that is not one of those New World Order types who has sold his soul to get his career. And Daniel Craig is definitely, I'm not going to say the word again in case it gets picked up, but Daniel Craig is definitely one of those. I've got all the evidence for it, and I've put those photos of Daniel Craig doing all those satanic symbol signs and everything on James Bond fans would love. Henry Cavill also used to date, what's her name? The girl that got booted from Star Wars. Just, again, bit tired, bit late, mental blank. Gina Carano. It always ends up coming to me. Gina Carano. He actually used to date her. Any man that dates Gina Carano is a good dude by my standards. He's very good looking. He's super suave. He does humour so well. He can act good enough to do James Bond. Like I said, it's not super Shakespeare unless you're Timothy Dalton. He's the man. So, yeah, I would actually be more than happy, and I think it's the right direction to go in, and particularly with his age, he's still young enough. I think Henry Cavill would be a fantastic choice for James Bond. Give the guy a 5-picture deal, bang out a Bond film every, at least, not even, if you can't do 2 years, don't go, okay, we'll do 3. Go 2.5. Make that your goal. Make 2.5 your goal. So if you slip up a bit or things go wrong, at least you got 3 years. So I'd love to see Christopher Macquarie directing Henry Cavill in a really fun, epic, balls to the wall James Bond film. Love it. The reason I don't want Christopher Nolan to direct a Bond film is Christopher Nolan makes Christopher Nolan films. And I don't think he's the type that Cubby Broccoli ever would have hired. Overall, I find Christopher Nolan films incredibly overrated. Yet on most elements visually they're stunning. Sometimes I think he goes too dark. Batman Begins was horrendous the way, like I love the film, don't get me wrong, but horrendous the way the handheld and everything was so close in the fight scenes you could barely see anything of what was going on. Now admittedly, he admitted later that he made a mistake with that, but I just don't want to see Christopher Nolan make Bond films. He makes epic films. I mean, I think the average runtime for his film is literally around 160 minutes long. That's not what we want. And he's going to write them and he's going to want to do a whole big backstory. And we've had that. We've had that kind of stuff from Casino Royale. Obviously, Quantum of Solace was only 106 minutes long, I think, from memory, 106 or 107. And it's the shortest James Bond film. But other than that, we've basically had the longest running James Bond films in this Daniel Craig era. And the longest one is about to come out, No Time to Die, at apparently 178 minutes or something like that. We don't want that. We don't need that. Maybe if they stopped spending so many more months shooting those extra minutes of footage, give us a 115-minute Bond film. 115 minutes. We don't need all the conversation crap with Bond and Moneypenny and Q. Give him the gadgets, let him flirt with that, go off into the field, and don't be PC correct, let him flirt with hot chicks. That's what we want. I think Henry Cavill could bring that, but also I think Christopher Nolan could bring that fantastically. Now, in the article, it said that his directorial debut was an absolute disaster, blah, blah, blah. His directorial debut, this is Christopher Macquarie I'm talking about, was the 2000 film Way of the Gun. It actually got about 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know what those people are thinking. Now, I don't know if that's critics or the general audience score. I thought it was the general audience score. But I watched Way of the Gun way back on VHS back in the day, and I loved it. And when I saw it, I thought, oh my goodness, this director is good. And then I realised it was Christopher Macquarie that had written The Usual Suspects. I thought, wow, this guy's got potential. Now, he didn't direct another film. I hope I'm correct on this. He didn't direct another film until Tom Cruise basically convinced him to come and direct Jack Reacher. And then he did direct Jack Reacher, I think it was 2012, which was, again, a brilliant film. And then he did, I think it was Ghost, so Mission Impossible, pretty sure it was Ghost Protocol he did. Correct me if I'm wrong there, guys. And of course he's done Mission Impossible Fallout as well, and the guy is now doing, now this is where they may not be able to actually get him as well, because he's doing Mission Impossible 2 and 3, which I believe for most part the first one is filmed, and I believe they're coming out 22 and 23 respectively, and they were supposed to be 2021 and 2022, but I believe now because of everything that's happened it's going to be 2022 and 2023. So he's still got parts to film for the 2023 release film and post-production and all that. So will they be able to get him, especially when right now Eon should be casting anew, unless they want to wait for Christopher Macquarie, and that's maybe an arrangement they've already made. But I think they've got to get cracking. They've got to get cracking on the new Bond film. And if they're not going for someone, if they're not chasing Christopher Macquarie, then Eon should get their act into gear. Stuff this garbage about, waiting for No Time to Die to come out because Daniel Craig's still there. He's not coming back as James Bond. The fans want change. We don't want him back as Bond anyway. And he's looking like an old leather ass in the sun anyway. So, Henry Cavill, Christopher Macquarie if you can get him. If not, bring back maybe Kerry Fukunaga, keep the film shorter, and get one out by at least, come on, it's 2021. This film should have come out in 2000, well, it really should have come out in 2019, but it was mainly being made in 2019. It should have come out around December 2000 or October, December 2019. Then it got put back to 2020. Then it got put back towards the back ass end of 2021. So, a James Bond film should be made in 2023. Should be released in October to December 2023. Now, if that's without Christopher Macquarie, fine, I can live with that. Right? Maybe, for goodness sake, bring back Danny Boyle. Apologise to him. Bring him back. Let him do one. Or just, You know who I would really be going after, and I don't think he's too old. He's in his 60s, I think. But Roger Michell, I just love the way he directs. And yes, he directed Notting Hill, and he directed Changing Lanes with Ben Affleck also, and Samuel L. Jackson. And he's a good British director. Or even Richard Curtis. And I'm sure Richard Curtis could direct action as well. And he's a brilliant writer. But you don't need the director to be the writer. Anyway, if he does or he helps out on the script, what a bonus. But seriously, Eon, 2023 is when you should bring out a film. So guys, hope you've enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think it's a great idea to reinvent the James Bond series back to kind of bring back a bit of a Brosnan era age? And also what I forgot to tell you is that Christopher Macquarie actually said that his favourite era of James Bond film, or what he grew up on, was Pierce Brosnan. Guys, let me know in the comments below what you think. Me and Scooby are out of here to go play Sucky Soccer. He's upset that I haven't been playing Sucky Soccer with him, that I've been talking about James Bond and Chris Macquarie. Till next time, guys, keep on bonding and say hi to your mum for us. See ya. Come on, Tips. Come on, Tips. Sucky Soccer!